Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what would happen if the moon suddenly stopped and just fell? It sounds like a sci-fi movie, but let's break down what would really happen if our closest celestial neighbor crashed back into Earth. First, a quick history lesson. About 4.5 billion years ago, a planet roughly the size of Mars, which scientists call Theia, smashed into a young Earth. A huge chunk of our planet was blasted into space, and that chunk became the moon. It's been circling us ever since. Now, some people might think the moon isn't that big. From here, it looks small, but that's just perspective. If you saw the Earth and moon side by side to scale, you'd realize the moon is massive. Its surface area is larger than the entire continent of Africa. So, imagine a rock bigger than Africa falling out of the sky. But don't panic, this isn't going to happen. In fact, the moon is actually moving away from us by about 1.5 inches every year. Astronomers calculate it would take about 15 billion years for it to escape Earth's gravity entirely. By then, our sun will have become a red giant and will have much, much bigger problems. Still, let's run the thought experiment. What if the moon started falling? We can imagine two scenarios, a slow fall and a fast fall. Let's start with the slow one. Imagine we could somehow apply the brakes to the moon, slowing it down just a little bit each day. It wouldn't fall straight down. Instead, it would begin a slow, spiraling descent toward Earth, taking about a year to finally make impact. The very first thing we'd notice would be the tides. The moon's gravity pulls on our oceans, creating the high and low tides we see every day. As the moon gets closer, that pull gets stronger, a lot stronger. A physicist at the University of Maine, Neil Commons, explains that if the moon were half as far away, the tides would be 8 times higher. Coastal cities like New York, London, and Tokyo would be the first to go, swallowed by colossal waves. You might think moving inland would keep you safe, but the consequences would ripple across the globe. With coastal cities gone, global shipping would halt. No more food, no more goods moving between continents. The internet would go down too, since the underwater cables that connect us would be destroyed. The global economy and financial system would completely collapse. And that's just the beginning. The moon's gravity doesn't just pull on water. It pulls on the land itself, causing the Earth's crust to bulge slightly. As the moon gets closer, this effect would be amplified, triggering constant, massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions all over the planet. So, on top of a global flood, we have the ground itself trying to tear itself apart. There are videos online that try to show what it would look like if the moon were as close as the International Space Station, about 420 kilometers away. It looks amazing, but it's totally wrong. In reality, the view wouldn't be a serene giant moon in the sky. It would be a hellscape of erupting volcanoes and kilometer-height tsunamis. But here's a twist. The moon might not even make it to Earth in one piece. Gravity is a two-way street. As the moon gets closer, Earth's own gravity would be pulling on it with immense force. At a distance of about 18,400 kilometers, it would cross something called the Roche limit. This is the point where our planet's gravity would become stronger than the moon's own gravity holding it together. Earth would literally rip the moon apart. Our satellite would disintegrate into a massive ring of dust and rock, kind of like Saturn's rings, but much denser. You might think that saves us, right? No moon, no problem. Wrong again. We would be trading one giant impact for tens of thousands of smaller ones. All those moon fragments would rain down on Earth. 66 million years ago, a single asteroid strike wiped out the dinosaurs and about 80% of all life on the planet. This would be thousands of times worse. The impacts would throw so much dust and debris into the atmosphere that it would block out the sun. This would cause acid rain, stop photosynthesis, and plunge the planet into a new ice age. Could anything survive? Maybe. Some extremophile bacteria and super tough creatures like tardigrades might make it. As for humans, our only hope would be to build deep underground bunkers and wait it out. When survivors finally emerged, thousands of years later, they'd find a frozen, barren planet. But hey, at least they'd have a spectacular set of rings to look at in the sky, a final reminder that we once had a moon. Okay, that was the slow scenario. What about the fast one? What if we could just stop the moon in its tracks right now? It wouldn't spiral, it would fall straight down. And it would be over very, very quickly. From its current position, it would take the Moon just 2 hours and 28 minutes to hit Earth. It would accelerate to a mind-boggling speed of over 300,000 kilometers per hour. By the time it hit the atmosphere, it would be moving so fast that the air wouldn't even slow it down. Scientists at Durham University used a supercomputer to model a collision like this. The impact would be so powerful that it would instantly boil the entire world's oceans and blast our atmosphere away into space. Nothing would survive this, not even the tardigrades. The impact would essentially sterilize the entire planet, turning Earth back into a molten ball of rock. So yeah, it's a good thing the Moon is staying right where it is. It's not just a pretty light in the sky, it's a critical partner that helps make life on Earth possible. Let's appreciate it from a safe distance. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this cosmic thought experiment, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more. See you next time.